Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to today's Life with Herpes live. It's not going to work. I have a new puppy. So I got to put her away because this is not going to work out. Let me get the link to share with people so that we can all be on the same page. Okay, so if you are new to the Life with Herpes Live, I'm Alexandra Harbushka. I am the founder of Life with Herpes. It is a blog, it's a podcast, it's a YouTube channel. Obviously, you're watching, but most of all, it's a community for people living with herpes. So, welcome. This is where we do a live weekly. I admit I've been out of it for the last couple weeks, but I am back and we'll do the live. So, it's your opportunity to ask your questions about herpes. So I will do my best to answer them. And if I don't know the answer, then thank you for the thumbs up. If I don't know the answer, then I will find it for you. Before I get going, also, if you have any questions, if you've not even heard of Life with Herpes, go to lifewithherpes.com. Go check it out. And I'm going to put my puppy away. She is not helping here. Go check it out for questions. There is a secret society, which sounds really enticing. There's a secret society. It's basically an online community for people living with herpes. So it's an opportunity to ask questions, get support. We do lives weekly. That's just with our group. So it's a really supportive community. Please hold. I apologize. We were really calm and just sitting down before we got going. And of course, now she knows my attention is directed towards you. So we'll see how she does. Again, I have a new puppy. Oh, okay. Yeah, we're going to have to go on a leash. Okay, so first question I got is I have a partner who has herpes, oral herpes. I have genital herpes. Is it transmitted or is it contagious to both, or how does that work sexually? Okay, so really great question. I get that question all the time. Basically, at the end of the day, herpes is herpes. So if you have oral herpes or if you have genital herpes, this is a new thing for me, guys. Sorry, I got the puppy. Here. Okay, so if you have oral herpes or genital herpes, they are both herpes. It's really important for you to find out what strain you have. There's two strains. There's HSV1 and HSV2. Basically, think of them as identical twins. They're really, really similar. They do the exact same thing, and they're both herpes. HSV1 is most commonly known as oral herpes. So most people that have oral herpes have HSV1. And HSV2 is most commonly known as genital herpes. So most people with genital herpes have HSV2. However, like I was saying, consider them identical twins, is they go back forth every which way. It just depends on if you give it an opportunity to go there. So back to your question about your partner and if they have oral herpes and you have genital herpes, like how's that combination work? To answer your question, find out what strain your partner has and find out what strain you have. So for example, there's a lot of new cases right now with people getting genital herpes, but it's HSV1 because of oral sex. Because people have oral herpes, they perform oral sex, and boom, their partner now has genital herpes. So if you have HSV1 genitally and you have HSV1 orally, then you both have the same virus, which is great news. That's awesome. You have the same thing. You don't have to worry about it. There are cases that it can be relocated in your body, but because your body already has the antibodies, you're good. You already have it. It's kind of like chickenpox, right? Like you've either had the vaccine if you were that generation, or if you're my generation that didn't have a vaccine and we all got chickenpox, there's no way I'm going to get it again because my body has the antibodies. That was just a super long-winded answer for your question. Did I answer it? Okay. My next question that I got from you guys is, I read on your blog post that certain foods create outbreaks. What are those foods that create outbreaks? Okay, great question. So yeah, as we know, nutrition and kind of what we consume and things like that can have effects on our body. They can have positive effects and they can have negative effects, right? We all know that. So with herpes, fortunately, there are some things we can do to increase, how do I put it? That's not the way I want to put it. Decrease the opportunity to get an outbreak and increase the hostile environment for the herpes virus. So let me explain. There's these essential amino acids. They are essential, and that means that we need them in our body. However, we don't make them. So our body doesn't make them alone. We have to get them from an outside source. We have to get it from our food consumption. And these essential amino acids are lysine and arginine. They're really good for us. They help build our muscles. A lot of athletes use them. They take the supplements, and they're really good for immune system, like all these great things. You can Google what they actually do for your body. I do have that on a blog post, but they really are great. So what happens though is you have the arginine, which is like lighter fluid to the herpes virus. Go figure. So you give you put the herpes virus in an arginine rich environment, your body. It's like, the cat's away, the mice will play, whatever you want to say. Lighter fluid to the fire. It is like Miracle Grow to the tumbleweed, whatever you want to say. So that's arginine. Now, lysine on the opposite end is like a fire extinguisher to the herpes virus. It makes it a very hostile environment for the herpes virus to survive in. There have been tests like when you put the virus in a petri dish and put it in an arginine environment, it kills it. That's awesomeness, right? So it makes it really difficult for the virus to reproduce. I know what you're thinking. You're like, oh, well, I just won't eat anything with arginine. I'll just eat a lysine-rich diet. It doesn't work that way. Back to what I was saying earlier, as far as the arginine, it's essential. We do need it in our body. It wouldn't be healthy to cut arginine out, nor would it really be possible, because it's like, could you really cut out, could you really cut out could you really cut out sugar? Not really, right? We still need sugar in our body, right? Our body breaks it down. It makes glucose. That's what we use to burn calories. So it's kind of like that, right? So we do need it in our bodies. But with that said, back to your original question, I'm getting there, are there foods you can eat that will help you out? So yes, high lysine environment. So these are foods like eggs, dairy products, like yogurts, cottage cheese, cheeses, milks, obviously. So that's it's great. So if you are a dairy consumer, dairy is going to be awesome. Eggs are also big in lysine. They're great. Any low fat looking protein. So pork loin, that's a low fat one. Chicken, turkey, like a filet, a steak, I don't know why it's low fat. I don't know why they said that. I don't know the difference, if it's like a different body part, if it's from the same animal. Guys, I'm really sorry about my puppy. This is her first live. So we're working through the puppy school thing. Anyways, so back to those meats, organ meats, which kind of sounds gross, but organ meats are also really high in lysine. So if you happen to be a pate lover, I happen to be one, or like a foie gras, go for that. Order it. It's really good for you. Other things like potatoes are good for you. I'm trying to think. Any vegetable without a seed. So technically, anything with a seed is a fruit, but we classify things that, like we classify a tomato as a vegetable, but really it's a fruit. So think of anything without a seed. So spinach, cauliflower, broccoli, onions, mushrooms. I don't think mushrooms are actually a vegetable. I think it's fungus. That's okay. So mushrooms, you'd have to go through the line at the grocery store. Kale, Swiss chard, leafy things. That's all really positive for lysine. Things with seeds, just an easy way to think about it. Things with seeds get higher in arginine. I'm not saying don't eat them. I eat bell peppers, tomatoes. I eat things with seeds all the time, but just consider that while you are looking at adding different things into your body. So those are some things that are really, really high in lysine that were really, oh, I forgot fish. Fish is huge. Any type of seafood, mussels, clams, scallops. That's making me hungry. Shrimp, tuna is a really big one. Tuna is a huge one. So like a tuna fish sandwich, like that's awesome. So anyways, to answer your question, those are some of the foods. I do have a blog post on it. I do have an episode on it. You'll have to search for it. I think it's the 5 top foods to help prevent outbreaks. I think that's what it's titled. So you can just search for it here in YouTube. Since we're on that, I see some people that have emailed me asking what are some foods that are negatively going to affect you. I don't want to use the word negative, but what could increase the chance of an outbreak. Again, I hate to be the bearer of bad news on this one because this is especially for snacks, especially for on the run, especially for ladies. I don't know about you, but I like to keep these in my purse or in my desk drawer just because they help. But a really bad thing to have too much of, well, it's a really good thing to have too much of is nuts. So nuts and peanuts. So almonds, almond milk. If you're thinking like, oh, I'll get my almond milk latte. Unfortunately, almonds are really high in arginine. Peanuts, super high in arginine. They're really one of the top ones. The thing that we have to look out for when we're talking about arginine is if you are an athlete or if you are a vegan or a vegetarian or you take like powder supplements while you work out. If you make a smoothie, as I have my smoothie here, if you use some type of supplement like protein powder for your smoothie, they're really, really, really high in arginine because a lot of times they're supplemented with nuts. That's where they get a lot of their protein from. So that's kind of a difficult one. Really a big letdown for me. I had to kind of give them up actually as I have nuts right over here to my right. But nuts. Doesn't mean you can't have them. I have almond butter toast every single morning, but I also don't now continue my day with like a handful of nuts here and a handful of nuts there and all that. Nuts. And then coconut. Now this is an interesting one. Coconut oil and coconut water. Coconut oil and coconut water are really high in lysine. Coconut milk and the coconut, like the actual, like the meat of the coconut that we have like shreds that we'll put in on our froyos or we'll put in our smoothies or we'll use for like a German chocolate cake or whatever. That's really high in arginine. So you got to see which one you're looking at. Coconut's an easy one to throw into a smoothie just for like a great taste or something. That's a difficult one too. That's really high in arginine and can cause outbreaks for a lot of people. So again, I'm just rambling on this one, but it's a really hot topic. All right, another question I got is how do I know what strain I have? So that would be up to you to go get tested if you were clinically diagnosed, meaning a doctor just looked at, listened to your symptoms and then actually did a visual, like looked at your actual outbreak and diagnosed you, then they're not going to be able to tell what strain it is. The best way, there's 2 ways you can go. There's 2 types of tests. You can do blood or you can do a swab. So like a cute, like when the doctor takes this really long Q-tip looking thing that looks super scary when they do a swab with that, and it'll tell you what strain it is. So that's how you do it. It is good to know just so that when you do have a partner or, you know, when you have people in your life, it's just important to know which one you have so you can know which one you're transmitting. But what I really want to get out of everybody's head and what I want to get done is oral herpes is fine and genital herpes is the bad kind. Or I have the mine's not the STD one. Mine's the cold sore one. Okay, that's total bullshit. Herpes is herpes is herpes. So just because you have it orally doesn't mean it can't be a sexually transmitted disease, right? Because you at that point most likely will have oral sex with a partner or multiple partners throughout your life. And every time you do that, you are putting your potential partner at risk of transmitting it to your partner genitally. So I really want to break that stigma of like, oh, well, I have the good kind. Herpes is neither good or bad. It just is what it is. It's a virus that the majority of the population have, and we deal with it. We move on. That's it. Scarlett. She had something to chime in about. Okay. Any other questions coming in? Do I see what do you guys have to say? All right. Hey, it's been a while. I know I haven't been on here in a while. What do you think about the link between herpes and Alzheimer's? That's something I have looked up. I will show you guys the puppy. That's something I have done. I've read about, I don't know. I don't know enough about the Alzheimer's thing. Okay. How do you get rid of herpes? Unfortunately, it is one of those things that is, you have it for the rest of your life. So it is a virus, not a bacterial infection. Bacteria, the good news with bacteria is you can kill it. A virus, once it's in your body, you cannot kill. So when a virus enters your body, it creates, imagine an egg. So you have an egg that has a shell on it. And once that virus is in your body, it has the shell. So our fighter T cells and all that stuff that happens on a cellular level cannot break through that virus. So it literally is like a hard-boiled egg. So it can't break through it. So that's why we have viruses for the rest of our life, which is good and bad, right? Like there's certain things you won't get twice. There's certain things like herpes that has something that pops up throughout your life. Can you get herpes from objects? That's a really great question. Yes and no. So bear with me as I explain that. Herpes is skin to skin transmission. So meaning, let's say I do have oral herpes. Let's say I have a outbreak right now and I go kiss my husband, then it's pretty likely that he will end up with oral herpes, right? It's skin to skin. Now, let's say I use a chapstick when I have the outbreak. I use the chapstick, and then my husband uses the chapstick right after me. Chances are he's going to get it because the virus is still living on that chapstick. The virus can live up to a couple of hours. That number is a little wishy-washy, but it can live up to a couple hours. So think about it like, oh, let me have a sip of your beer. And like, this is not beer, by the way. Let me have a sip of your beer. And then like you're at the bar and you're like, have a sip. And the whole thing like, oh, alcohol kills everything. Well, unfortunately, it can still be on your glass. So it can get transmitted from objects. If like you're, it's not toilet seats, like I wouldn't worry about that, but it needs to be moist. It likes moist, it likes warm, it likes damp, it likes those types of things. Can you still donate blood? Absolutely. Totally. You can still donate blood. 100%. Having herpes has nothing to do with having bad blood or like contaminated blood. Absolutely not. You can still donate. Yeah, you're totally fine to donate blood. Just let them know. And let's see. I have herpes. Is it become okay? Yeah, you can totally live a normal life. Absolutely. Having herpes should not change your life at all. All right, guys, I'll show you Scarlett since she is being very vocal. There she is. And that wine glass is from last night, by the way. That's not from this morning. I promise. Scarlett. We got an F in puppy school. We're still working on it. Okay, what other questions do you guys have? Hi, I will tell Bill you said hello. Okay. Can I get it from like someone not washing their hands from using the bathroom or touching their mouth? And then touching my genitals, by the way. Okay, so here's the thing that I want you to think about. Is this virus is a living organism. It's viruses are part of the animal kingdom, right? There's 5 elements of the animal kingdom. Viruses are one of them. So this is a living organism, and what it wants to do, and the only way it can survive is by being transmitted to a infected person to a non-infected person. This way it keeps the herpes virus going. So this virus is going to want to transmit as often as possible and as easily as possible. So to answer your question is, can I get it from someone not washing their hands, from using the bathroom, or touching their mouth and then touching something and then touching your mouth? So I would say from, let's say, okay, I have oral herpes, I'm touching my mouth, and then later on I shake your hand, and then later on you touch your mouth. That's going to be kind of hard. There's a lot of breaks in between that. Is it possible? Yes. It's like saying, is it possible to get pregnant from sitting on sheets that have sperm or like cum on it? Like, yeah, it's possible, but that's like really have a really long way to go. Like, is it possible to, yeah, but it's a really tough one. So likelihood of that happening is really, really slim. Here's what I like to recommend. Yeah, there's people that don't wash their hands after using the bathroom all the time. There's people, you know, you think about it, you walk into Starbucks, you open the door to walk into Starbucks or Safeway or CVS or Pete's Coffee or wherever you're going. Yeah, you touch that handle, but you've been touching that handle for your entire life. So I guarantee you, and it is covered, I don't know where my phone is, but it is covered in germs. So I can say like my phone is something I touch all the time. It is covered in germs. I don't even want to know. I don't want to do a science project with a Petri dish and see what's living on my phone. It's disgusting. Just know that yes, these things are everywhere, but the best way is to wash your hands. Just continue to wash your hands. Wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. You can't get rid of the virus. It will be in your system forever. There is an antiviral you can take. So we'll talk about the antiviral. It works really, really well. What it does is it forces the virus to lie dormant in your system. So it never gets rid of the virus. Your body will, you are guaranteed to die with this virus. So you better get used to it. Like you're going to have it for the rest of your life. And it will die with you when you pass away. Not to sound morbid, but you will have this for the rest of your life. There are antivirals that will allow it to lie dormant. So I like to use the comparison of a volcano. We have some volcanoes that are active that go off all the time. We have some volcanoes that you're like, whoa, where in the world did this one show up? We had no idea it was active. We didn't even know it was active. And then we have the third that's like, it's a dead one. Like it's dormant. People hike through there. It's dead. Like there's no way that one's going to erupt again. So kind of think of herpes in that sense. There's people who have herpes that lies dormant. They don't ever have outbreaks. They don't even notice it. There are people that have outbreaks like, whoa, I totally forgot I had this virus. I haven't had an outbreak in years or months and it just showed up. And then there's people that are like, I have herpes. Like I just say the word herpes and I get an outbreak, right? So the medicine is really great. It's an antiviral. It basically makes it a dormant volcano, of the way to look at it. It makes it dormant. So it will help assist in keeping the virus lying silent unless you awaken it in some way, unless you're super stressed or you don't take your antiviral or you eat a bunch of peanut butter, whatever, or you travel halfway around the world, whatever it is that stresses your body out, that can cause it. Just like, you know, back to the volcano thing. So does that answer your question? I'm glad that the YouTube videos helped. I'm really glad. Let's see. I'm just reading through. Yeah, I would just is looking at, this whole virus. What I don't want you to, so here's what I want. I want you to be aware that you have a virus that is contagious to other people. Just be aware of it. What I don't want you to do, because it seems like today the topic is like, but if I touch something, or if my baby touches something, or all this, like people ask me, well, can I take a bath with my baby, or all that? Can I get in the pool with my kids? I get those questions all the time. So yes, I want you to be aware that you have a virus. It is contagious. And when you have an active outbreak or during a viral shedding, which I did not talk about, when you have viral shedding, what I don't want you to do is isolate your body. What I don't want you to do is not be involved with any part of your body or any part of your life. Like, yes, get in the pool with your kids. Yes, take a bath with your spouse. Yes, touch yourself or body or whatever. Like, as saying like, oh, well, I've had people say like, oh, I wear gloves in the shower so that when I clean my genital area, I won't touch it. And that way I'll be fine. I understand where you're coming from, but it's basically the same thing as saying like, I'm never going to touch my elbow again. I'm never going to touch it ever, because this thing could be infected because I put my elbow on the tables. My elbow goes on things. It could be, like maybe you got a wart on your elbow, because we get warts and that's a virus and all this. It's as silly as saying that. And then your poor elbow, which is a huge part of your life, you need your elbow, right, to perform daily activities. Your poor elbow over here is like all left out. So it's the same thing with your genital area. When it comes to sex, when it comes to masturbation, when it comes to taking a shower, when it comes to going to the bathroom, like, it is your body. Do not, like, it's your body. Like, it needs to be touched like every other part of you. So that's one thing. I just be aware that you have this and it needs to be disclosed if you're going to expose someone. Other than that, you got to let it go. Okie dokie. Can my boyfriend give me herpes? I do not know and did not know he had it, but I get outbreaks. Yeah. So most of the transmissions occur from people who don't know they have it. There's a lot of times people either are never tested, or they are in denial about it, or they don't know they have it. So yes, you can absolutely transmit it without outbreaks. You can transmit it not knowing you have it. So unfortunately, in your situation, Danica, it sounds like perhaps your boyfriend has herpes, and maybe he didn't know. Something to think about. In general, yes, there are the times where you're like, I've been celibate for 3 years and I just now got herpes. How did this happen? Majority of the incubation period for the transmission is about 2 days to 14 days. So think about it, within 2 weeks of having a new partner or being exposed, it's about 2 weeks is the incubation part, incubation thing for the virus. All right. I'm about to wrap this up. I loved seeing everybody from all over the world. We had Monaco, we have England, we have Nashville, I'm here in Las Vegas. Now my dog is a dead dog. I mean, guys, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. We're working on it. Yeah, so let me just type in my website. In case you have any questions, I'm going to recommend Growing the Secret Society. It is a monthly subscription. We have an online community filled with hundreds of people, and it is just a great place to hold hands. Oh, New York, cool. It's basically like a virtual hug, hand-holding, support. You give support and you receive support. We do weekly live chats with me, so it's a group, secure group, and we do that live. And we can really peel back the onion and like get super nerdy about your questions. That doesn't sound right, super nerdy, but we can get like detailed about your certain situation and how we can find a solution for either your diet or dating or telling your partner, or like, what the heck is this herpes virus in my body? Is it like, what is this volcano? Is it Pompeii, or is it like the dormant ones? Well, Pompeii is now dormant, but what's going on with this? So I really would love to see you all over there. And I'm just so grateful to be able to spend my Friday with you. So thank you for spending it with me. Love you all. And big, big, big virtual hugs. And thanks for hanging out with Scarlett. We're working on it. All right, I'm going to end it. I always have a hard time ending it. It's always difficult for me to do that. Okay.